leave the EU without a deal, what will happen to the supply of food to the UK? An article published in the medical journal The Lancet says that the government's own planning assumption in private is that the number of trucks crossing into the UK could fall by a third or more within the first 24 hours of a no-deal Brexit. The author Tim Lang claims that would lead to serious implications for food supply, prices and public health. Well, Tim Lang, Professor of Food Politics at City University in London, is in the studio. Good morning.
Good morning.
And what are your claims based on?
Well, my job is partly for the last 3 or 4 years has been looking at Brexit, so I talk extremely widely across the food industry, within government and outside. And there is a picture which I present in my paper in The Lancet, which is very sober indeed. The government has planning assumptions. They are there. They're kept under lock and key. The Institute for Government report last week confirmed that, and I agree with that. But I'm saying in my paper these ought to be shared with the public now,
And
because they are dire.
And what are the specific figures that you're talking about? Is it just first 24 hours?
No, the critical issue is I think the public understands there will be chaos in the first 24 hours. The point is the planning assumptions make it very clear that this will last for months. They're assuming that France will be and have to, and I suspect we all know that the Republic of Ireland will have to, put Britain as a third country. So in other words, strict EU rules will be applied, in which case I've had estimates of 50% of trucks not having smooth border transit, flows of trucks dropping by 30, 40, 50% within a day and continuing for 2-3 months. And by the end of 3 months, flow to have returned to, at best, one person told me and others have confirmed, to maybe 50 to 70%.
But you all know that the government's saying under Boris Johnson that it's turbocharging preparations for the possibility of a no-deal Brexit, and the relevant department, DEFRA, didn't want to do an interview, but they told us that there is a highly resilient food supply chain and there are access to a range of sources of food.
I understand DEFRA not wanting to encourage panic, and indeed I say in my paper no one actually does want panic. But the point is, unless the government comes clean with the public about what it expects, they will panic. At the moment, there is no planning for the public to be informed, and yet people on low incomes will be affected, and particularly the critical issue, hence in The Lancet, is that fresh food supplies will be disrupted. Now, Britain imports almost all of its fruit and about half, just under half of its vegetables. We underconsume those, and I say very, very gently in The Lancet, which is it to be? Is that public health advice to be followed, or is it to be abandoned? Because the disruption means it has to be abandoned.
But are you so sure about the levels of disruption? Because this programme has talked to the chief executive of Port Boulogne in Calais. In January, he said that the port would be ready, and the World This Weekend spoke to him just yesterday and said that they're not he told the programme, we're not expecting long queues. I'm not pessimistic.
Yes, no, I heard the interview myself. The point is, and that's the purpose of my article. I'm saying, come clean. In this uncertainty, one of the things I call for, I'm an academic, what's the method behind the planning assumptions which are widely talked about in the food industry and among cognoscenti? Let's come clean. That's the only way that you prevent panic. And here I have a booklet which currently sits on websites under resilience forums, and it's titled Don't Panic, Prepare. My point is, how on earth can the public prepare to have fresh fruit and vegetables when the supplies get disrupted?
Well, again, I put to you that the supplies may not be as disrupted to the same levels that you're talking about because of means of preparation, even though there are additional checks. But John Keith from Eurotunnel says that ensuring that trucks are registered and can pre-declare goods, technology can be used to ease any potential delays.
I hear all of that, and I've been told that myself for 2 or 3 years, but equally much stronger voices say very different things. So I'm saying in that uncertainty, the public must be informed and the public should be given the planning assumptions. Let's see what are the methods. Let's have it discussed. How and why of these planning assumptions which are being given widely to the food industry now Why and how have they been made?
So what are you saying that the government should do? Because presumably it will be trying to prevent panic buying.
It is. Again, I say in my article, £138 million has been allocated. That's been widely known. The point is how, to do what messages. We know from history how volatile people can be over food problems.
Professor Tim Lang, thank you for talking to us.
It's now 11 minutes to 8 and time for Thought for the Day.